Hello and welcome to exciting tutorial on Linux. In this video, we are going to explore what Linux is and why it is so awesome. At its most basic level, Linux is an operating system. It's the software that runs on your computer and allows you to interact with it. It is free and open source operating system that allows you to do all sorts of amazing things with your computer. Linux was created back in the early 1990s by a Finnish programmer named Linus Torvalds, who wanted to make an operating system that was accessible to everyone, without any restrictive licensing or fees. Today, Linux is used by millions of people around the world, from hobbyists and students to scientists and developers. One of the biggest benefits of Linux is its openness. Because it's open source, anyone can access the source code and modify it to suit their needs. This has led to development of thousands of different versions of Linux, known as distributions or distros for short. Another benefit of Linux is its stability and security. Linux is known for being very stable and rarely crashing or freezing. It is also less vulnerable to viruses and other types of malware than other operating systems, making it a great choice for users who are concerned about security. Now you might be wondering, how is Linux different from other operating systems like Windows or macOS? Well, for one thing, Linux is completely free. There are no licensing fees or hidden costs. And because it's open source, you can access the code, and if you are smart enough, you can customize it to your heart's content. This has led to development of many specialized versions of Linux for different purposes, such as scientific computing, multimedia production, and gaming. Linux can generally work for much longer periods of time without needing a reboot compared to Windows. This is because Linux is designed to be highly stable and reliable operating system with robust memory management and process handling capabilities. All these reasons make it an ideal choice for servers and other mission-critical systems that require higher levels of uptime and reliability. Learning Linux is essential for everyone entering the IT world because it's one of the widely used operating systems in the industry. Since many of the world's servers, supercomputers, and embedded devices run on Linux, it's really good to explore how big Linux job industry is, and that's what we're gonna do in the next video. As you already know, there are tons of Linux distributions, but you might be wondering why I am specifically comparing Red Hat versus CentOS. The simple answer is because both distributions are two of the most used Linux distributions in businesses as enterprise Linux. A lot of software companies use these distributions. Recently, Alma Linux became one of the most used Linux distributions in the IT industry as well, but for the purpose of this video, I will give a small comparison about Red Hat and CentOS. Let me start with Red Hat. Red Hat Enterprise Linux is a serious Linux for businesses. The Red Hat source code is free, so you can go there and install it. However, if you want to use Red Hat Linux distribution from Red Hat Incorporated, you have to pay it. It is because when you get Red Hat, you also get technical support from Red Hat Incorporated. Many businesses choose Red Hat because it's very stable and reliable platform. But the problem is that Red Hat is expensive. At this right point, CentOS comes to play. CentOS Linux is an exact copy of Red Hat, so you can think of this way: CentOS downloaded Red Hat source code, compiled it, and provided it for free for everyone. The main difference between Red Hat and CentOS Linux is when you use CentOS, you don't get any support. By the way, later on CentOS is owned by Red Hat, and this is where they discontinued CentOS Linux. In 2020, Red Hat announced that they will not support CentOS Linux anymore. When CentOS Linux 8 is released, it's expected that Red Hat will support it for 10 years, but then they decided that they will discontinue CentOS Linux. It doesn't affect ordinary users a lot, but if your business runs on CentOS Linux, And you may be worried about it because it's possible that in the future you can face some problems, since CentOS stability and reliability will be under question. The open source community was not happy about Red Hat's decision, therefore they provided Alma Linux, which is open source, forever free enterprise Linux distribution, and it is exactly compatible with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. You can go there and start using Alma Linux in your critical applications. Frankly speaking, I would recommend it. Anyway, when Red Hat made a decision, they also announced a new CentOS distribution, which is CentOS 3. What is it? Basically, it's a development platform for Red Hat. Before releasing a stable version of Red Hat, all the changes, new features are developed and tested in CentOS 3 for a while. If everything goes well in CentOS 3 for a while, then the same changes can be implemented in Red Hat. I hope you understand why the community was angry about discontinuation of CentOS, because CentOS Linux was a stable version, but CentOS 3 is not stable. It is kind of sandbox for Red Hat. Throughout this course, I'm gonna use CentOS 3.9, which is the last version as of today, but you can also use the last stable CentOS Linux, which is CentOS Linux 7. Both distributions are provided by the Google Cloud. Anyway, I tried to give you a better understanding of the difference between CentOS and Red Hat. I hope this tutorial was useful for you. That's it. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Let's learn what a virtual machine is. Virtual machine is a machine which is virtual. And that's it. No, I'm just kidding. It was a bad joke actually. But seriously, let me explain what a virtual machine is. Let's take a normal laptop that we are all using. This laptop has hardware such as CPU, RAM, disk, and etc. On the top of hardware, we install operating system. Let's say Windows operating system, which controls how applications such as Microsoft Word or Notepad will use these hardware resources. And of course, these applications are installed on the top of the operating system. Up until now, everything is okay. But what if you want to use the CentOS operating system? What are you gonna do? The first option is buying a new laptop where Linux operating system is installed. Or you will remove your Windows operating system and then install Linux on the same hardware. Here you are saying that we have dual boot option, which allows to run two operating systems on the same hardware. But again, it will allow you to run just two operating systems. What if you want to use Ubuntu, CentOS, and Windows on the same hardware? This is the reason why virtualization exists. You're gonna have virtualization tool on top of the operating system, and on top of the virtualization tool, you will install CentOS, Ubuntu, or Windows, whatever operating system you want. By using virtualization technology, you don't need separate hardware for each operating system, and we call virtualization technology a hypervisor that allows you to run different operating systems on the same hardware. There are two types of hypervisors, type 1 and type 2. Type 2 is actually what I just described. We have hardware resources, and then we have host operating system. On top of it, we have hypervisor, and on top of the hypervisor, we install different operating systems. However, in type 1 hypervisor, we install hypervisor directly on the hardware itself, which means that hypervisor controls hardware resources directly. We don't need a host operating system, and since we install it on the hardware itself, type 1 hypervisor is also called bare metal hypervisor. I hope everything is understandable until now, but you might be wondering why we learn virtualization technology, why it is so important. Well, the first thing is virtualization is one of the most beautiful things that has happened to the IT world. We are gonna hear the concept of virtualization a lot if you work in the IT industry. Since we are learning Linux, we need a Linux operating system to get some hands-on experience. Therefore, we will create a virtual machine which runs Linux distribution CentOS on the Google Cloud platform. It's a cloud platform that allows you to create different instances or virtual machines on the cloud. And most of the cloud providers use type 1 hypervisor to run their infrastructure. So when we create a virtual machine on the Google Cloud platform, we actually create a virtual machine on the physical hardware. And most likely, there are hundreds or thousands of users who create virtual machines on the same physical server that we just created ours. I also would like to tell you a few benefits of virtual machines. The first one is cost saving. You can run multiple virtual machines on a single physical server, which can save you money on the hardware and electricity cost. The second benefit is flexibility. You can run different operating systems and applications on the same physical machine, which can be useful for testing, development, and experimentation. Then we have another benefit called isolation. So each virtual machine is isolated from other virtual machines, which provides a higher level of security and stability. The last benefit is scalability. You can easily add or remove virtual machines as needed, depending on your workload requirements. There are a lot of benefits of virtualization technology, but since it's out of the scope of this course, I just listed a few of them. You can always ask Google to get more examples, but for now, I think that's all about virtual machines. Bye, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Now we are going to activate our free Google Cloud platform. As I said before, throughout this course, we are going to use this Google Cloud platform, which is free and it's also very useful. So it's really good for the beginners. So since we are in the beginning of the road, we are going to use this Google Cloud platform. And we are going to create some virtual machines in this platform. So let's just log into our console. So just type console.cloud.google.com and click enter. Then you have to provide your email address. This is my email address. When you just log in your console, so it will ask you select you have to agree these terms of service. Agree, email updates, I don't want to do that, and then agree and continue. As you see that on the top of the screen, you can see it says start your free trial with 300 USD. So this Google Cloud platform provides us 300 credits, 300 USD credits, like you can use for 3 months. Now let's just click this activate button. We are going to activate our account. And okay, you just need to select organization. So I can choose personal project, then agree, continue. So your account type, it's individual for me. Now I'm just going to fill all the details here. Here we have to provide our card details, card number, and etc. So, but do not worry about that because we will not be charged until you just upgrade your account manually later on. Because as you see that here it says it is 300 USD credit for free. So after 3 months, Google asks you to upgrade your account manually. So it will not be upgraded automatically. That is why if you don't want to upgrade your account, then you will not be charged. Now I'm just going to fill my card details. Now just click the start my free trial button. And if you click this continue button, it will verify your account. There will be another browser. By the way, it may happen that you will not see this pop-up window because it depends on how your bank card is configured. For example, for me, when I just click this continue button, it will give me some code and then I have to confirm that code in my phone. So it depends on how your bank card is configured. So you can fill these sections as you want. I'm going to choose, for example, explore, websites maybe, virtual machines of course, and then that's it for me. We are going to skip it for now. So that's it, we just activated our free Google Cloud Platform account. Next step is to create our first virtual machines in this cloud platform. But before that, I would like to show you these billing sections. So here you can see your billing information. As you can see that it says I have 313 euros free, like it's free, and then I have 91 days remaining. So it means that I have 3 months to spend this amount of money. So after 3 months, Google asks you to upgrade your account. If you don't upgrade your account, then you will not be charged, and but all your resources will be kept there. So if you want to upgrade your account later on, then you can access your resources as well. Now we can create our first virtual machine. So we are going to use compute engine and VM instances, and you can also enable this compute engine API. After you enable your compute engine API, you will face this window. So here you can create your instance. There is also a create instance button, just click on that. Now we have to give the name for our instance. So for the first time, let's just use CentOS. Let's use CentOS 1 maybe. You can also add labels, but we don't need it right now. And you can choose your region. I think it's really best if you choose the region that's near to your country. For example, I will choose, let's say Finland. And that's it. So here you can see that there's a series. It really doesn't matter, but it's good to use this E3 instance. And then machine type, you can choose medium, small, micro, and you can also choose the bigger ones. But for now, I think actually the small is enough. But let's just choose A2, medium. So it will provide from 1 to 2 CPU, 1 shared core of course, and 4 gigabytes of memory. And display device, we don't need to use display device, so I'm just not going to enable display device. Okay, here I boot disk. So I see that our name, the instance name is CentOS1. Type new balance persistent disk, that's okay. Size 10 gigabytes. So it means your hard disk, it's 10 gigabytes. And license type free. And then image is Debian GNU Linux. So I don't want to use Debian. I will be using CentOS machine. So let's change it. From Debian we can choose CentOS. And as a version we are going to use the latest one, which is CentOS Stream 9. So it's okay. Balance persistent disk, that's okay. And as a size, your hard disk size, you can choose whatever you want. So 20 gig is really enough for our purpose. So let's just select it. And we have also other like options here. Like you can choose allow default access, like it has some default options, or maybe you can choose like allow full access to all cloud APIs, but like basically the first one is okay for our purpose. And as a firewall rule, we don't need to choose any of that. So, but there will be some cases that we can choose one of these options, or we can create our own firewall rule. So basically firewall is a network security system like that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic, like based on these security rules. But we don't need to choose any of these options right now. Now we can just create our virtual machine, but before that I would like to show you something. As you see that it is right now, it is 29 USD. It means that this is the monthly estimate. So basically if your virtual machine runs in a month, then it will cost you 29 USD, but it will be charged from your free credits. But here if you choose the small one, E2 small instance, then you will see that it's just around 15 USD. So it depends how you want to use your virtual machine, and based on that you can choose small, medium or large. But let's now choose medium. So it really doesn't matter in our case, but let's just choose medium and then create our virtual machine. And here also you can see that it creates your VM instance. So for me it was just less than 20 seconds. In 20 seconds we just created our own virtual machines in this Google Cloud platform. Now it's time to access or connect our machine. So from this drop down menu you can see there are some options, but for the sake of simplicity we are going to use SSH. So SSH is a kind of network protocol that allows you connect your virtual machine or server. So you don't need to know anything right now about this SSH connection, but for now we're just going to use this option. So just click on this SSH button and it will create a new browser window, and it will take around 20 seconds maybe to open your Linux machine. Our virtual machine is ready. So I will talk about this interface in the next lecture, but for now I would like to use this uptime command. So uptime shows you how long your server is up. So right now it says that our server is our merged virtual machine is up for 15 minutes. So right now this Linux machine is running for 15 minutes, and you can also see from here, like if you select your virtual instance from the monitoring section, you can just monitor your virtual machine. For example, when it's created the CPU usage is around 72%, but right now it is around 1 and it is 27. Probably it will be decreased as well. And then there are also some additional information like about disk input outputs, throughput, network packets. Like if you have some issues with your network, then it will be shown here. You will see that there are some fluctuations in this graph or network bytes and etc. But for now I think that's it. So we can move to next lecture.